Namaste students, this show video. I JVWU Dr. Chandrakala, Assistant Professor Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University, Jaipur. In today's session, we are going to discuss about the stages of development. There are five different stages of development, that is prenatal development from the conception to the birth, infancy to the toddlerhood, up to the 2 years, early childhood up to 5 years, and late childhood up to 6 to 12 years. Adolescence 13 to 19 years. So the stages are marked by the psychologists to facilitate the study that overlaps in a real life. So here the childhood begins in the second session of the early childhood, or a puberty set in sometimes during the last 2 years of the childhood, and the maturity of adulthood is gained at the age of up to the 18. Hence, one may not be find significant difference in 12 to 13 years old. So throughout the stages of the development category include different aspects as the physical, cognitive, social and emotional. So their affects the interact with the other aspects. So for example, the physical development allows them to acquire the skills like performance or the experimental or a language or a development lead to them to a better interpersonal relationship and a social development. So the infancy and the toddlerhood, which raising a child in a family which was exciting and challenging at the same time. A child life has to begin with a bonding and attachment, laying the foundation of the relationship of the parents. So the physical development during the infant was the rapid growth in height, weight from birth to 2 years. The newborn since have a height proportion which is 22% of his height of the body, and the portion of the head which gradually decrease in infancy. The milk teeth appears in 6 to 7 months. The bones are softer and more flexible than adults. So the parents need to take care handling of the infant to avoid the bone deformity and infection. So cognitive development during the infancy is the development of focusing in a bright toys, lamps, moving objects, colors, etc. Or 1 year old child maybe like where perceiving the objects, familiar environment, or first or second year of memory is stronger for a person and the object than the situation. Then emotional development, where a child have a stimulus for loud noise, hot, cold water, or a hungry, uncomfortable feeling, or unpleasant response. So social development here in this due to the dependency on the parent or satisfaction of the body needs. The first social contact is the parents take care. So early childhood, it is the right time for the early years of learning, and for early care is in education. So here a young born child or a learner or an individual difference are present at the time of the birth and may set and explore eagerness and curiosity in a child, which means that early childhood stage of the child explores the world with unlimited eagerness and curiosity. So here the physical development also takes place in the early childhood, where the locomotor skills in a preschools, which way the manner of walking through smoother or gradually allowing or running or jumping because it become easier to balance and improve. While stair climbing or both the feet brought to be the same steps or moving upward and downward, eye, hand and eye foot coordination improvement. So different psychomotor activity works or fine motor development like small muscles, drawing or zip or like cut or scissors or snaps, break, ties, mold or with the clay. So some examples find where the milestones or holding a pencil, writing development of the picture or eat neatly with a minimum chocos. So here the gross motor development seen in the activity like running, jumping, and balancing or climbing. So here the development of a milestone for a preschooler stops and starts or changing the direction, waking up in a stair, like walking up or upside down in a beam or on its toe, swinging on a swing. So here fine motor skills up to 2 to 3 years of age in stacking, blocking, molding the clay or writing skills 3 to 4 years take place. So vigor exercises of for the 60 minutes for each day for all children or playing in a peer group or creating certain activities where the parents need to make an effort to reduce the sedimentary time or use the computer playing videos or watching TV or provide physical activity or a motor skills. But in early stage, at this certain age, they are capable of symbolic performance of the mental task in the geometry or mathematical activities. Children are able to can talk in endless sentences, making interesting stories out of that. The child is able to use language and art representing a symbol or a drawing for more realistic than that of the child progress in early childhood stage. So the emotional development also takes place with the impatience and selflessness, where a self becomes selfish when it comes to share a toy or belonging. They express aggression or physical verbal behavior without any inhibition, or their behavior shows signs of jealous of the siblings, or especially the aggressive behavior towards the new infant, which may be prolonged indefinitely, or egocentrism, where the stage of the result in the failure to take other perspectives of the observed in the stage, mostly tempered in at the age of 3. So the here the thumb sucking become a child's safety valve and release the emotional pressure to that on having certain other activities here. Social development also is a self-concept where the child can identify a feeling of self and other overlap in settings. Due to increase in the tolerance, he becomes more cooperative with the playmates and play for a long time also. So here the competition of prestige or apparent at this age of 4. By the age of 6, most of the children have developed well competitive spirits or a sign of a cooperative behaviors or appear or understood when a child is about 4 years. So with increase in the age or the child strives for the social improvement of the others, the first of all the adult has to be the member of this group. So this they develop into a theories about the world around which they basically based on the experiment. So despite of the growing independency and self-awareness, they need an assistance from adults for approximately 4 years. So here education is also plays an important role in the early childhood, like catchy tunes, rhythmic words, or a nursery rhymes. Here, a child can coordinate a visual and tune in videos or a words. So alphabet can be introduced using a block or a picture where the visual, auditory, or aesthetic or tactile skills are being benefit for giving an output, or a clay mounting where making an alphabet, or a child learns to tolerate the spray for the short-term period and bend towards the socialization. So here the activity of the games increased as its interaction or a joyful atmosphere for the kindergarten, sustaining the interest in the learner through action. So early school education need an activity based. So as the children acquires new motor skill at this age, they have initiated the need to practice it. So in the later childhood, it was conditional again that um, certain physical development, which is a uniform growth or a physical growth followed by a predictable pattern takes place uh, with the lifespan when a girl or a boy becomes taller, growth, height, weight, variations affects is affected also by the nutrition or the nutrition diet taken by them, and it depends upon the development of the different developmental stages. Also, the cognitive development in this stage is like the memory, attention, thinking, imagination, and can solve the problem intelligently. So they learn the capacity to learn and develop the capacity to conceptualize the things constructive way in a creative manner, and creating art, craft, drawing, and related their interest point of their creativity and development in the interest as it acquires with the subjects of a particular area. Social development in the late childhood is the egocentric nature of the child, where the preschool provides an ideal situation for the socialization. The child's social environment and its functions widens, and the child is engaged in social interaction, in thinking, reflects its behavior. It also plays in play according to the age group, and here the emotional development also takes place at certain ages like anger, fear, joy, anxiety, and the child nature and behavior creates changes in different stages. Interesting, extremely interesting and stimulating to him or her. He devotes his energy and attention in them. At the late age of education, the child develops the skills of sewing, catching, cycling, swimming, engaging in different sports, and child develops the certain skills like health, self-help, and skills of social development. Apart from doing own work, the child becomes able to help others also at this stage. At school also needs writing, drawing, painting, play modeling, weaving, or other activities can be developed where they can develop certain things for channelizing an exhibition and excursion, and workshops can be organized in creative talents of the students for fine arts and physical training. Thank you. This session is powered by 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. If you have any queries, we'll discuss